All right, we are recording. So welcome to our second Advocates After Dark. Our usual housekeeping items. If you are a donor watching this either live or watching this after we upload it onto YouTube, thank you so much for continuing to support us. We're also planning to upload smaller portions of these videos live to the general public. So if you are a member of the general public watching this snippet, consider joining our donor program to gain access to the entire video as well as our donor community. You can join the donor program on our website at falcats.com/donate. So with that, I am going to share my screen and pull up our little PowerPoint for tonight. All right. So this is our slide from last time. In case you don't know who we are, we're Feline Advocates of Leon County, nonprofit 501(c)(3) animal rescue that helps rescue cats in Tallahassee and North Florida and surrounding rural communities. We operate two adoption centers, Fat Cat Cafe and Fat Cat Books, which generate revenue for the rescue. And 100% of our proceeds just goes back to rescuing more cats. So last time we all met up, we did some introductions. So I don't think we need to do introductions again. Michelle, when she returns, I would like her to take an opportunity to introduce herself since she wasn't able to make our last meeting. So, oh, sorry. I can't, it's tough. I can't look at the chat and share my screen at the same time. So let's see. Oops. Why is it not letting me share? You are screen sharing. Okay. Can you guys still see the thingy?
Yes, I can see the
Oh,
PowerPoint.
okay. Oh, that's weird. Um, Interesting. Yeah, I know Michelle had to step away for a second,
I'm
so
back.
okay. Welcome. Welcome back.
Hey,
I
and I
just
was going to say, I can watch the chats while you steer, if that helps.
That is helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I just last time we all got to introduce ourselves, and since you weren't here last time, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to say hi.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Um, I was really wanting to be at the last meeting, but gosh, what was happening? Oh, yeah, it was the end of the school year and graduation was happening, and I had a very special niece who was involved in graduation and graduating, so I was just couldn't get away. We had awards night, so I'm sorry to miss the first one, but I'm excited to be here tonight. Yeah, thanks, Gina. Yeah, we're very happy and proud of her. She's going to FSU, um, and in the honors program. So I'll stop about that though.
Well, that's awesome. Do you want to tell everybody just a little bit like who you are, what your
Oh,
role is? I put some questions on the side that we all kind of answered last time. Feel free to
oh,
use
okay.
those to help you if that helps at all.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Michelle, and I founded Falc with Susie Caplow and another woman named Megan back in 2017, no, 18-ish, and then 2019 it was in full force. We got our nonprofit status. We had already had Fat Cat Cafe was already up and running in 2017, so Falc took over Fat Cat Cafe, and ever since then, we've been so proud for everything that we've accomplished. I've done rescue prior to that, though. I worked with It's Meow or Never and also with Cause I Can down in Wakulla. Used to foster dogs, and the way I got into cats was I was at a dog adoption event with Cause I Can, and I had made cupcakes, little cupcakes in with the face of puppies. And someone said, "Oh, no one ever does anything for cats." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, cats need all the help. There's no one to help them." And so I switched gears, and that was all she wrote. So here we are.
That's a cool
So
story.
it literally was cupcakes that did it. So my role, I'm president, current president, and I like to call myself the founder, but what I do, I could not do and have done without this beautiful team that you see here on the board and several others that have moved on since. And my favorite part, there's so many favorite parts. I love seeing the outcome, the success stories. It helps make the hard parts, doable and handleable. Um, just like real quick, I texted yesterday or maybe it was today, they all run together. I texted Gina, was a kitten that we adopted out. Her name was Gina, not our beautiful volunteer Gina, but a kitty named Gina who had to have a serious leg surgery. Um, and she was adopted by this young girl, and you never know where our kitties are going to go, but it was a serious surgery and it cost a lot of money and also was just a big recovery. And it had been probably a month or two since the recovery time, and she got the clear from the doctor. And I just checked in and got such an amazing feedback on how happy the adopter is and how happy Gina's doing. And she kept the name Gina, and it was just, it made it worthwhile and made it feel good. And was just happy to hear that story. Make, it made a difference. So those are the favorite parts.
Well, thank you for telling us about yourself. Yeah, we have just a really incredible team of people here, and it's just everybody has their own. Last time I kind of went through, the people that weren't here kind of told you guys a little bit about them, but everybody just has a different, unique role, and all of it is like parts in a machine that kind of keep things moving along.
Yeah, for sure.
So, how are things going? We did this last time too. May was a crazy month. Um, we took in 54 cats, which
Geez.
is a lot. And to put it into perspective, I went back and I kind of, I love data and I love numbers and stuff like that. So I went through and made a graph of our intakes by month over the last 5 years. 2026 is kind of that dark purple line. So as you can see, our 2026 May is very similar to like 2023, um, where it's, over 50 cats, and we're definitely seeing like a peak in May, which tracks for kitten season. And I just thought it was really interesting to kind of see the different trends and things. This year's been really, really steady. Um, June we're trying to do less intakes because, we did so many in May, but we are still doing a steady number. We're probably going to do more than 25 again. So it will probably continue to track like 2023. And I just thought it was really, really interesting because I feel like this year kitten season has been very different. I don't want to say it's worse, but it's like the pleas for help, there's more of them. We're getting more pleas for help in Tallahassee. It used to be that we would get, a lot in Tallahassee, but a lot in our like rural communities. But I feel like now it's like we're getting more in Tallahassee and we're not really able to expand and help as, geographically as far as we used to be able to because people are just finding cats right in our backyard instead of, we maybe would take in 70% Tallahassee and 30% surrounding communities. But in the month of May, it was pretty much all local, all in our city. So I just thought that was interesting.
And this is really interesting because I personally felt like kitten season started later this year, but looking at this, it doesn't look like it did.
No, I can remember so the directors from all the different cat rescues, we all have a thread that we all kind of communicate with. And right around April, we always have this little conversation of, is it starting late? It feels like it's late. What's going on? And then we just get punched in the face with emails and phone calls and kittens. And it kind of does happen, around April. And then boom, it's hitting the ground running. And to your point about it feeling very heavy this year, it's happening for sure because there's not as much TNR taking place. Our organization hasn't been able to TNR because of funding, because of volunteers, and I know the same thing's happening with It's Meow or Never. They're struggling to find spay neuter surgeries spots at the clinics, so there's just lots of factors playing a role into why we're getting hit so hard this year.
Yeah, and I think there's always like an economical burden as well because more and more of the emails coming in are, I found this animal, I want to foster, I want to adopt it, I want to help, but I can't afford it. Like I went to my vet and they're, going to charge me $400 for this, and I can't afford that. Between that and like gaining access to spay and neuter, it's really hard and like the community is trying. Tally Spay has a really good promotion going on where, if you're in a certain zip code in Tallahassee, and they may have expanded it now to more of them, if you can provide, that you're in a certain income bracket, where you could, benefit from financial assistance, they will, waive your spay, neuter, and rabies, which is really helpful. But even then, we're dealing with members of the community who can't drive. They're like, I don't have a car. I can't transport the cat. I can't do this. I can't, And so it's just, I think the economy is also just playing a huge role in this, unfortunately. And it's been a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so now something happy. I'm gonna pass it off to Michelle. I know in the last meeting we told you guys about Girls to the Rescue, or just like a little teaser of it, but it actually happened, this past week. So Michelle can, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was really fun. Let's see, Oasis. Well, actually, it started with our commissioner, Jack Porter. She reached out to me to see if we could set up some type of an educational experience for the Oasis Girls Center, and they have run a summer camp every week. It's a different group of girls comes in for their camp, and they wanted to set up something with us to try to maybe develop something fun and educational. And so we looked into it, and we definitely wanted to get them into the cat cafe, and that was going to be fun. But then they told me it was going to be about 20 girls, and we definitely couldn't accommodate 20 at one time. So we thought about it, and I ended up reaching out to the shelter, the Tallahassee Animal Service Center, and contacted their educational department. And they actually had a little thing where we were going to split the girls up. Half of them went to the shelter, and half of them came to the cat cafe. And they had a little experience at the shelter with dogs, and they how to approach dogs and interacting, and how you can ask people, can I pet your dog? And just a little bit of education for the youth on how to interact with the dogs. And they even brought a dog out. And then the other group would be at the cafe, and I talked with them about cats, and what is a cat cafe, and how does it work, and what are we here for, and kind of shared a little bit about cat rescue. And then after about 20 minutes, they flipped, and the girls that were at the shelter came to the cafe, and vice versa, went to the shelter. And they got the same experience. And then at the end of that next 20 minutes, everyone reconvened back at the cat cafe, and Jack Porter met up with everyone there, and she talked about what the purpose of our shelter is, and how the importance of humane treatment of animals in our community. And it was just a really beautiful experience to see all the girls and our commissioner come in and get involved. Jack Porter, she really is an advocate for trap, neuter, release, return, and so she spoke about that a little bit. And what was really amazing is the girls were just so good with the cats. Like, these pictures weren't hard to pick between. Every picture I took was the girls just being so gentle with the animals, playing with them. So overall, everyone just had a really good experience. And the counselors had fun. I don't know if I sent the one picture. We have a new kitty named Caleb. He's just a handsome little street cat, and he's climbed up in one of the counselors' laps and sat there the entire time and wouldn't let her get up. And she was just falling in love with him. So it was just a great experience all around for the cats and the girls. So it was a good thing.
Well, thank you for doing that. It was really cool. And I know we want to do, you guys, you guys get to see it first, but we are going to put together like a social media post kind of explaining all that and highlighting and sharing the rest of the pictures. You took so many good ones. I just picked three. I liked the one in the middle, because, the little girl's playing with one of our kittens that just moved in. So yeah.
This is so cool. And I just know one of those little girls is going to grow up to be in rescue. Like, this is going to change their life. I know if I were that age and did something like this, it would just be like the rest of my life.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna, if you look in the far left photo, the little girl with our back to us with the pink bow, it's gonna be her because
Yeah.
she was so enthralled with everything. Yeah.
All right, we'll sign her up to volunteer.
I know. We need it.
Start 'em young. Yeah, I would have loved something like that when I was their age. I wasn't allowed to have cats because my dad is allergic to cats. I always dreamed of having a cat. That's all I ever wanted. My grandma had cats, so I was able to see hers, but I just wanted my own. And I would have loved to, been able to be, brought to the cat cafe and gotten the opportunity to sit with 20 cats for an hour. I would have lost my mind. All right, so this is our case of the month. This is Little Gray or Little Gray. So kind of like last time, I just kind of picked one of our ongoing medical cases to talk about. So this started off with an email, which I actually included the email here. The email came in at about 3 o'clock on a Friday because that's how rescue works, and everything urgent happens Friday evenings, on the weekend, at night, on holidays. It's never a Monday morning. It's always a holiday or a weekend or something like that. And so we got this email, like a high urgency help request. It says, "Hey there, long story short, I have a kitten that urgently needs attention for an eye. It's getting worse by the day and is literally outside of its head. A little backstory, a stray mama cat decided our porch was a safe place to have kittens. We'd like to rehome all the kittens. This one just desperately needs immediate vet attention and we can't afford it." So we saw this email and we were like, oh crap. We got the kitten into a primary vet. The primary vet referred us to an emergency vet. The kitten went to an emergency vet Friday night for its eye. And luckily, it's continued to do okay. It does have a ruptured globe. The eye is going to need an eye enucleation. As soon as she sent the picture over email, we could look at it and be like, yep, this cat is going to need its eye out. There's no saving that. So we're waiting for the kitten to grow. Um, Eye enucleation surgery is a little bit tricky. Kittens aren't really good surgical candidates until they're at least 2 pounds and 8 weeks old. Anything smaller than that, and you really run the risk of them not waking up after anesthesia. And we've been in that boat before, actually. The difficult thing with eye infections like this is you have to, prevent sepsis, or basically, the infection spreading outside of the eye into the bloodstream. If the kitten becomes septic, then it becomes a life-threatening situation, and the kitten will die of sepsis before you can get the eye out. Luckily, this kitten was not septic. The infection was pretty well localized to the globe. So the kitten continues to grow. Kitten's actually living with Michelle. And we're waiting until it's just a little bit bigger to be a better candidate for eye surgery. In this slide, I have put a this little sticker over the eye so you don't have to see anything. If anyone's curious, my next slide does have the picture of the kitten without the sticker on its eye, so definitely like look away if you don't want to see that. But if anyone is curious to see it, we can show that. So I'm gonna show that in just a second. So look away if you're squeamish.
I will say I talked to the vet today and he got a great checkup. He's already gained a quarter of a pound. I asked the vet what weight they were shooting for to to do the surgery, and she said that the vet said that we probably will kind of anticipate that next week. We're going for another checkup in 7 days. But Little Gray is super stable and just running around. And if you are looking at the picture, I will tell you the eye has improved greatly. What happens is a lot of that tissue will sheath off, and now it's just like this tiny little bump. You can tell the eye is definitely not salvageable, but it definitely doesn't look like that anymore, thanks to Clavamox and eye drops and just, being treated with TLC.
Yeah, this stuff often just looks really gross. I've had we've had so many kittens that need eye enucleations. I don't have a number. I wish I did. It must be close to 20 now.
Yeah.
We I don't know if it was last fall or sometime around there, we even took in like a whole litter of kittens and like four of them needed eye enucleation surgery. But it's really gross. You do like the warm compresses and like those outer layers of tissue just fall off.
I'm
But
gonna
it's
go grab
good.
him. I'm gonna go grab him real quick so y'all can see him.
Yes.
Oh, we get a show and tell.
Yeah.
I love it. I have to say the eyeballs, not like the pictures, but seeing the kittens and handling them, that freaks me out. I know, Sarah, you have a better stomach for it. You've done probably 10 of the 20 or whatever, but like, kudos to you.
Yeah, it's just the first couple times it's really gross. I mean, like one litter we had our, vet on staff, she was very involved in helping me with them, and I did a warm compress and like a whole big chunk of tissue came out on it. And I
Ew.
texted her a picture and I was like, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. And she was like, you're fine. She's like, it's a little coconut. It's just that's what's gonna happen. But it can be gross.
Hey, you want to look? See how much smaller it is now?
Oh,
Mhm.
that's so awesome. Look at
Like
that.
they look like normal sized eyes, but it's definitely like all gray tissue. So
Oh, happy baby.
how do you not keep everything? I want them all.
I think that's one of the questions later,
It is.
submitted by me.
Yeah. Yes, we will get to that. And someone else on Instagram pretty much asked the same question too. So that
Well,
is a
Gina, oh, Gina,
common
make sure
question.
you tell Brian that it's all good. And he's like got just this tiny little eyeball in there.
Yes. You're doing all the right things with it's him, right?
Yep, yeah, he's so pretty. I think he's a little girl. I keep
It's
calling him a her.
well, the vet records, one place has the cat listed as female, another was listed as male. So
Gotcha.
I yeah. That's always fun. Um, and Little Gray's story doesn't necessarily end there. From the email, it was clear that this person had other cats living on their property. And we happened to have three appointments at Tally Spay today, which were unfilled. They're originally going to be cats in the foster program, and those kittens didn't get fixed today, so we were able to use them for something else. And we got in touch with someone who is kind of located in that area who does TNR, who's a volunteer, and she's amazing. And she was willing to go over there and collect three cats. And so we were able to get these three cats fixed today from that colony and kind of shut it down. And as it turns out, the three we got today, two were female, one was a male. One of the females was in heat meaning that, she is in her prime to get pregnant, which is not what we want. And the other female was actually, pregnant. So we were able to, end the cycle of suffering for these kitties because as much as we love kittens, we don't need any more kittens anywhere right now. Um, so we were really happy that we were able to do that. And we'll keep helping them too as they, need help. We're really big on, full circle work. So a lot of the time, we pull kittens and we don't know where they came from. We don't know if we're helping those kittens and that matters, but if you're not stopping the reproduction at the source, there's just going to be more kittens. So you pull one kitten or you pull a litter, and then they're going to reach out to you in 3 months and have another litter and another litter and another litter. So we try when we can to really close the cycle and end the reproduction in that space if we commit to, pulling a cat from there, especially if it's a cat with like a medical issue. Sometimes we see certain medical issues that are genetic or congenital. And so if we pull a kitten with one of those, we're really adamant about trying to get their family fixed to not create more kittens with the same problems. So we were happy about that.
It's awesome.
Yes. And then of course we couldn't not talk about Parker and Cooper because they were adopted this past month, which is just shocking, happy, exciting. So it's been so weird not having them at the cat cafe. Every time I go, I'm like trying to listen for, Parker's very specific meow. Or, Cooper to be in the drawer that she was always in. But someone amazing came along and just wanted a bonded pair of cats, fell in love with them, was like, I'm ready. And we had to decide, are we ready? Because we had them for 3 years or so or more. And just very hard to see them go. And I think what's hard about it is, I wanted to show this video. This is Parker when we got him in as a kitten. That's me in the background. Kaylee, who was our, cafe manager at the time, she took the video because this kitten came.
How did you find that?
I had it. I keep everything.
This
So
Oh
is
my God.
so crazy. I've never seen this. I'm
That was
baffled.
what year was this? 2022. Okay, this was one of the hardest. weeks, not to make it about me, but I am. It was the hardest week of my life with rescue because I hadn't learned yet about, or at least not well enough about giving it time because we had to give him doxycycline or was it the
I
other
think it
one?
was clindamycin, isn't it?
Clindamycin, an antibiotic that was going to help treat his hydrocephalus if that was what he had. And we had to do it for well, it took 5 days for anything to show. And every day I kept saying, Sarah, do we need to just euthanize this baby? And she's like, no, we gotta wait, we gotta wait. And sure enough, on day 5, he stood up and he started eating. And it was just crazy. This poor baby. Oh, I can't even look at this video right
Yeah, and you can even see, he had the bulbous head, he had the hydrocephalus, Beavis that helped us out with him. We took him there and we were like, I don't know what to do. What's wrong with this cat? And he was able to diagnose the hydrocephalus. For him, because of his age, I'm not super well versed on hydrocephalus. This is the only cat I think we've ever had with it, but there's like the plate or whatever basically that controls like the fluid that surrounds the brain. When cats are developing, it's open and then it closes, and for him it was already closed. So he somehow was a survivor and he lived, and he didn't need any surgical intervention. He didn't need like a tap to reduce the fluid. He didn't need any of that stuff. He was just a little survivor, but it was really hard seeing him arrive in that kind of condition, and he was just stumbling and not being able to walk and being so worried about him. And yeah, that was back in June 14th. It was almost, today's June 10th. So
four
it's
years
almost
ago.
4 years ago. Yeah, that he came in. And he came from somewhere where we've helped a lot of cats from. And she was also just out of her depth. She's like, there's this kitten, and I don't know what's wrong with him. But it was a really big medical case for us. And so by the time we got him, stable and in a position where he was available for adoption, it took a long time. And then once he was in the cafe, he was terrified. One thing about like hydrocephalus is it does affect their like personality and affect. So he had all these interesting little quirks. Like he's super vocal. And if you visited the cafe, you've had to hear him meow at least once. And
Mhm.
he just would be super vocal, kind of weird. He didn't really like eye contact. It's like he would walk up to you if he didn't think you were looking, right at him. And he would rub against your legs. But this cat loved other cats. That was his thing. He just, at all the other cats at the cafe, he would, make them feel safe. He would want to welcome them, be their friend. And so when Cooper arrived, not maybe, I don't think it was quite a year after, they just instantly clicked. And we were like, we have to make them a bonded pair. We're never going to be able to adopt them out, but we have to make them a bonded pair. And then, lo and behold, somebody came around, and that's why we say there's an adopter for every cat. There is, because if there was an adopter who wanted, these two, then there's
Yeah.
somebody for everybody. But yeah, I
And
just
I
wanted to
think
show that.
Yeah, and I think the bonded pair, like I haven't seen a lot of those in the rescue since I've been with it. It's very rare that you come across two cats who like really need each other. And I think that was just the easiest, most unanimous decision for the whole rescue where everyone was like, yeah, they have to be together forever.
So, so they're actually, I don't know if you told them much about who adopted them, but
Mm-mm.
it was a law firm wanted to adopt a bonded pair of cats to be their office cats. And I know that I hope that that doesn't sound insensitive or just trite, but because these people, we didn't just say yes. I visited the office. I hung out with them for about an hour. When we finally made the decision after talking to them thoroughly, I delivered the cats. I got to see Parker and Cooper integrate into the office, and I've stayed in contact with them. I'm actually their follow-up person, so I can see how they're doing. And it's just so beautiful. They have 8 people to love on them every day of the week, and there's even on the weekends there's people going by and doing things to hang out at the office and be around them. And so it's a really cool situation. And I don't know, is it hard to show my screen
Oh, I can stop sharing. There
and
we
you
go.
and then make me like the big picture? But I haven't been able to send this to the team yet, but this was sent to me yesterday. It's Parker and Cooper. And usually Parker's the one kind of soothing Cooper, but Parker's taking a little bit longer to adjust into the setting. And Cooper's actually being his little uh emotional support cat and helping
Oh,
Cooper along. So it's
that's
really
so
beautiful.
sweet.
Thanks for sharing my screen. That was awesome.
Yes. Yeah, and it just, goes to show that's why we're so invested in them. This was probably one of the hardest ones for us to say goodbye to, because like after 4 years of being with us, we just joked like they were our lifers, like they were gonna be there till the cafe shut down, live out the rest of their life there, whatever was required. But I and they also the people were also so sweet. They came by the cafe like at least 3 or 4 times just to hang out with them and make sure it was, a good fit and that they were prepared. They even like they were telling me because I ran into them one of those times they came by that like everyone in the office has their own like little cubicle and they're in competition to like make it as most appealing to the cats as possible. So the cats want to hang out with them and not everybody else. So they're just, competing and trying to win over the cat's affection. So very sweet. Okay, so now we are to the Ask Us Anything section. So I put this out on Instagram and over email, and I have compiled all of the questions here. So we can just kind of, go through them. And then Gina also had a question as well, or if there was anything in the chat, we can go through that too. So the first one is, can you rank the most effective ways to help support kitty rescues by benefit to the rescue and cats? I think it's a very good question.
There's a tiered kind of poem that kind of says if you can't do this, then do this. And if you can't do this, then do this. And I can't remember what it starts with, all the way up from adopting to then down to fostering. And if you can't foster, then donate your time. And if you can't donate your time, donate your money. It's just a trickle down of there's so many different ways to get involved. And it's never too little or too much.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, I think for everybody, like everyone has a different skill set. Everyone has a different lifestyle. Everyone has their own stuff they're doing. So you might be more effective doing one thing versus another. You might be more effective as a foster than you are as a donor because, maybe you don't have the money to donate, or you might be more effective as a donor because you have income and you want to, financially contribute to the rescue, but you can't foster because your living situation or your lifestyle or you travel all the time or something like that. So I think it kind of depends. But I honestly think, anything that if I feel like sometimes the issue is like 10% of us give 100% instead of, if 50% of us could give 10% or something like that. So anything anybody can give is just huge. Even just like, if you have a good social media following and you want to share some of our cats and help us, find them homes when you see like this cat's available for adoption, you can put that on your personal page and refer people to the rescue. Even just stuff like that is just huge.
Huh? Yep, sharing posts, starting fundraisers on social media, all kinds of ways.
Okay. So the next one is, how do you not adopt slash keep every cat you work with?
Which of us can even answer this? I don't know.
Well, I was keeping every cat that I worked with, and then I maxed out. Now I can't keep anymore. So that's how you stop. Or open up a cat cafe and then find more ways to hang out with them and find them homes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll go next.
And-
For me, it's really hard. Like there's a few that really stuck with me. I had a foster for a few months. Um, and it kind of made it easy because he just wasn't a good fit for the cats that I had. One of my cats in particular would beat the you know what out of him every single second of every single day. So I knew that wasn't a happy life for him. But still, I mean, even him and there's a couple of other cats where I think about at least once a week, if not more, where, oh, what if I got to keep them? But then I know that they're happy and loved and have their own families, and that for me makes it kind of easier. But I mean, you still think about them, but you know that they're good. And that's all we want for them.
Yeah. I think I was reading Gina's, well, she in cap letters, I'm guilty. Girl, yes, you are. She kept a whole litter practically.
And they were all my babies, and I was so happy about it. It's so
But
lovely when
but
you,
what a better there's no better person than to adopt an entire litter. And also I don't know if y'all saw Olivia is on here listening in. She's got one of mine that killed me not to keep. But now I'm not remembering her name. Oh my God. Olivia, what was her name? Black cat, the ear tip. And I loved her so much.
I
hmm.
think it's a different Olivia.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We have an Olivia that adopted a cat that I never wanted to let go. But now I know who was it? No, I will. It'll come back to me later. Double embarrassment. Can't remember the cat's name. Wrong adopter.
Well,
Plus,
I'll embarrass myself. Also, what makes it easier for me is knowing that I don't have enough energy to clean my house after all of them.
That's
Like
that.
I have a few friends and maybe a couple that are on this call that have more cats than me, but their houses are just spotless and I don't have the time or energy for that. So that helps me keep my numbers down somewhat.
I know you're not talking about me.
Yeah, what? Stop it.
ugh.
Lindsay too. She said not her either. Whatever.
Yeah, I have five, and like I was really good in the beginning. I adopted, that's what got me into Falk was I adopted a cat from the cat cafe, and it just kind of funneled from there. I adopted two from the cat cafe in 2018, and then I had a litter of bottle babies in 2020, and I kept one because I couldn't deal with letting her go. Michelle actually had to help me. She got like an adoption application, and that's when I lost my mind. It was like I can't get rid of this cat. And Michelle convinced her to adopt a different cat. Um, and that's how she stayed with me. And then my other two I've adopted in the past year. And I also still have Orchid with me, and she's like my long-term foster cat slash she lives here slash we don't know what's wrong with her. We can't put her up for adoption. She can't be spayed. She can't have surgery. She's weird. Um, so it is really hard. I will say, like, when I lived in a one-bedroom apartment and knew like my max is three, I can't do any more than that, or I can't foster. That's kind of what kept me from keeping all the cats was I knew I wouldn't be able to foster anymore. And for me, like the fostering was so rewarding and so critical to my role in the rescue that I just was like, I can't. Like I have to say goodbye. But it's really hard, especially for the medical cats. Like if you take in a when we take in like a medical cat and you're fostering them and you bring them back from the brink of death, it's like, how do you say goodbye to that? I had so much trouble saying goodbye to like Topanga. She was this little kitten that came in and we thought her foot and her leg would need to be amputated. And it actually didn't. Beavis saved her leg. He put her on the right stuff and her leg actually healed and she got to keep everything. And it was shocking.
I don't
Um,
remember that at all. Oh my God.
that's the kitty I took to the beach. Remember? You're like,
Yeah.
did you bring in a playpen? It's that one.
And then
Um,
literally on the way there, I think it was Lindsay and Melissa found a kitten on the bridge. So like they just find us.
Oh, that's right. I remember that too. Oh my gosh.
I'll always remember St. George.
I was thinking
That's what
about
we
that.
named him.
Yeah, I was
I
thinking
realized
about
I
that.
could talk. I just look awful. I can't show my face right now.
Yeah. Or like Mabel was a hard one too to say goodbye to. She was a wobbly cat. We took
Oh,
in a pregnant cat and we didn't spay her. She was really, really close to giving birth. And of course, because we didn't do that, all her babies had CH or CH-like disorder. I don't know. Actually, I think Mabel got the MRI. I can't remember, and they confirmed it, but it was like a litter of five, and they all had different degrees of CH or cerebellar hypoplasia, so they were kind of wobbly and wonky. And Mabel was like this long-haired Tabico, beautiful little cat, and she was very hard to adopt out too.
But I took her to the bookstore. I was fostering her and I was like, "Ugh, I have too many cats. I love her. It's gonna kill me." I took her to the bookstore just for a visit. And not within 2 hours, someone walks in the door and she got the best home.
Do you ever get updates on her?
No, I don't think I was the follow-up person.
Hmm, I'm just curious.
I also remember Rowdy, who I think was
Oh,
from the same litter, right?
yes. No,
Yes.
yes. No, was
And
it?
I think so. And we brought him to an adoption event at PetSmart or Petco or whatever it was. Got an applicant who was interested in another kitten first, but then that one had an application. So she came and looked at Rowdy, who was another wobbly CH kitty. And that was approved instantly. She had the best application, really nice, sweet, caring, responsible girl and her boyfriend or husband or whatever it was. And I think he went home that day. And Michelle, I remember Michelle driving up to like say bye to him, meet the people, say goodbye. And I think we got follow-ups on him for a while. Maybe even still we do, I don't know. But
Well,
um
she came back and adopted from Ika. She
oh,
adopted a
that's
cat from Ika,
right.
another special needs kitty. She cried. She met Rowdy, and within 2 minutes of hearing his story, she started crying. She was like, "This is my cat."
And she looked just like him. You know how
Yep, she
sometimes
had
people say they look
blazing
like their
orange
pet?
hair,
Yeah.
blazing orange hair, just like him.
Yep.
Hmm, yeah. So in short, the answer is good luck. Do your best, know your means, know if you're a foster, like, we love when our fosters adopt, but we also know that like sometimes when we adopt them, that ends the fostering partnership. So it is bittersweet. So, just maybe sometimes use that as a motivator. Someone asked on Instagram a very similar thing. They're trying to convince a family member to sign up to foster, but the family member is very worried she's going to want to keep all of the animals. To which, especially if you're first time fostering, I feel like that also comes up a lot because, it's your first connection, it's your first, everything, and how do you say goodbye to that? But, just know your limits. Set yourself a hard limit. My hard limit is 5. I can't do anything else in my 2-bedroom apartment because I also foster. So, yeah. The next question is, what do you do when you are full on cats but are asked to take more? Cry. It's a really good question. That's literally the story of our life right now. We are full, we are at max capacity, our fosters are full, we don't really have a lot of space, but the asks are constant and it's heartbreaking sometimes to say no because especially when it's something like you feel like it's a medical issue you could help or there are kittens in an unsafe location and you want to help but you're just completely full. It's really hard. Um, this is a daily struggle for me. So I don't know how to answer this question. I guess we
Well,
just keep referring out, there's other rescues, there's other resources in the community. When I respond to pretty much all of the intake requests and I just tell people, here's the resources, here's what you can do. Reach back out to us in this amount of time, see if we have space. Reach out to your local animal shelter. Sometimes we get emailed from people like Jackson County, Jefferson County, Wakulla, um, Bay County, like Panama City. It's so bad right now that people are just willing to reach out just further and further away for help. So.
I will say that, and this kind of goes in a little bit of a darker direction, and logistical, is that this is when people talk about no-kill shelters. The no-kill concept is very hard to actually implement because when you get down to it, this is what happens. We're a no-kill rescue, but when we stop taking cats, what happens next? How does it trickle down? You know, they go to the shelter. The shelter's full, then it becomes a kill situation. Euthanasia may have to take in if space is limited. So there's just it's kind of a weird way to think about like the no kill concept. It's really hard to like implement in a community.
Yeah, and it's like even, Best Friends is really big on no kill. Like that's their whole thing. No kill movement. We're gonna be no kill. We're gonna do this. But sometimes like no kill is kind of a misnomer because at the end of the day, shelters are always going to have to euthanize animals for some reason. Like, they're trying to help a feral cat and the cat has some medical condition where it can't be resolved, it can't be fixed. You can't put the cat back outside because the cat will suffer and slowly die. So humane euthanasia is the right thing to do. So it's like we're never going to be 100% no kill. And I think the issue is because of this kind of um, stereotype about kill shelters, people don't want to support them. They think that's the answer. It's like, well, I would never donate to a kill shelter. I would never go to a kill shelter. I would never volunteer with a kill shelter. But the reality is, like, the people there, those shelters are contracted and they're funded by, the local government. They have to be in place. And they just have to, not be able to be no kill because they have to take every animal that comes through the door, no matter what. We don't get to say that. We can tell people, no, we're at max capacity. We're limited intake. They cannot turn anyone away. Someone could walk
By
in,
law.
yes, by law. So like it's not by saying you don't want to support them, it's like, well, they need the support. They need the help. They need our
And
help to be able to not have to euthanize for space, but people don't want to help them because of this like stereotype of, they're a kill shelter.
if they're euthanizing, it's because every other rescue and organization in town said no.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah.
the trickle down.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
that got dark. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, that's the thing too. Those
But it's
people there,
reality.
like, yeah, they don't want to euthanize animals. No one there
Yeah.
wants to. They hate doing
Our our shelter staff, like while they are very harsh and very crass, they care so much about every single animal that walks through our door. And I wish there were more people to hear this, but like they find transports for 40 to 50 cats at a time to ship up north where they will be adopted and spayed and neutered. They ship dogs off to every part of the country because they don't want to euthanize. They will do everything they possibly can to keep all those animals alive. And enough of Tallahassee doesn't know that. Like, there's not enough people that know that because they still have that stigmatism of the shelter that existed in the 1970s, where they had 7 kennels, 7 cages, and euthanasia left and right. So it's just they try so hard. Our shelter tries so hard.
And mind you, that transport is a big undertaking. That's a lot of emails, that's a lot of phone calls, that's a lot of logistics. Like, that's a full-time job for one person, if not more, to put all of that effort into getting your animals out so that they can live and not be euthanized and have a happy life, as opposed to the alternative. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, they see all kinds of things. They see, I was in there one day, and real quick, and then I'll hush. But I was in there one day picking up a kitten that we were going to transfer in, and I got to observe them interacting with the mom and child. And when the mom and child exited the building, I was like, well, what was all that about? And they were totally comfortable telling me that they had already added them to the do not adopt list. They had already not completed the vaccinations. They watched the mom scream at the child all the way out to the car. And they're like, if she's going to be treating that child that way, how's she going to be treating an animal? And so these humans that work at the shelter and see this kind of crap day in and day out, abused animals, neglected animals, like of course they're going to be hardened humans. Like they see 10 times worse things than we do because we get to say no. They don't get to say no. All right, I'm done.
No, it's an important conversation. It's like,
Yeah.
they've had to learn how to adapt and survive to the environment that they are in. In Tallahassee, we're really fortunate. Our shelter has not had to euthanize for space in several years. But like, for example, we're a partner with Orange County Animal Services, which is a shelter with one of the highest euthanasia rates in the state. And I don't know how they do what they do because people just bring in, bottle baby kittens at 3 p.m. on a Thursday, and they have to be out of the building before the shelter closes at 5. They have 2 hours to find somewhere to go, and they have a network of fosters. They have rescues that they partner with. But the reality is, if 5 o'clock rolls around and no one has committed to them, those kittens are euthanized. and it's hard. Like we're on the emails and stuff. I'm like too far away to do anything. Can't help you. And we get the emails too for dogs. They're in that situation as well where they're full on kennels and having to, euthanize dogs. So, we're fortunate where we are. It's not as they're in a, I think because they're in a big city and also like South Florida just also has a lot of free roaming cats, as do we. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting time. So, Michelle has submitted a question.
Oh,
When
that was mine.
when does it end?
I didn't know that really get posted.
Absolutely. All questions are posted.
Well, let me tell you, I'll answer my own question. If the city would come up with a community cat coordinator, we could start a TNR, proper TNR program where we could spay and neuter the community cats and help the community spay and neuter their own animals. Then we could be looking at a 5 to 6 year plan where we would like almost 95% solve the cat overpopulation. That's when it ends. But
Yes,
I don't
all
have the time to go talk to the city council and make them come up with a budget and do all the things and then hire me to do it.
yes, all of our problems end with TNR. That is the
Agreed.
answer. We can't adopt our way out of this. There's only a limited number of people who are going to adopt cats and keep cats, and they can only adopt a certain number of cats. So many rescues are just they're not TNR focused. They're just like, oh, we're gonna pull these kittens, adopt them out, save their lives, which is important. But it's also like, okay, but that's just, it's like we're sitting there and we're being the it's like, you're trying to catch water in a pail or something, and the rescues are the little pail trying to catch the flood of kittens, but no one is turning the water off. And the only way you can do that is through TNR, but it's difficult because there just aren't a lot of, assistance programs for TNR, and a lot of the people and areas that need TNR the most are, like low income and no one can transport or drive. And it also becomes difficult too because all these kittens we're taking in are like the byproduct of all of this like kitty inbreeding. So we get all these cats with, messed up medical problems because, they're just inbred or there's congenital issues that run through colonies of cats. And it's hard. But yeah, I was curious what you meant by when does it end? I was like, the cat problem, the rescue.
I was drowned. I felt overwhelmed when I sent that at that moment. I happened to be doom scrolling and I was like, "Oh, my rescue asked a question. I've got one."
And I think Gina had a good one that really ties into this. She said in the chat, could cats in those situations sometimes be spayed, neutered, then released again into a colony, or does that sometimes not work out? And Michelle and Sarah, I know, can speak way better to it than me. I'll give a short answer that a lot of times it does work out, but it's also difficult because is it a safe colony? Do they have food there every day? Are they cared for? Is there someone checking in on them to make sure everything's okay? And then also, what might the community or caretakers think if we fix them and vaccinate them and release them back, which is all of that is just very tricky, but I know you two and whoever else has more to add.
Well, and yeah, and those all those factors are important on what we leave behind in a colony, but a lot of times too, people don't want to hear that as a solution. They don't, when we're full, when all the rescues are full and we don't, yes, I agree. Like if we take them to the shelter and they're likely to be euthanized, yes, why not let them live out a happy little life living outside where they once came from? And then the shelter in many cities across the country have, it's called return to field. Is that right? RTF, return to home, RTH, where people can they'll bring in a cat that they find that's very nice. And the shelter tells them, okay, you're dropping this cat off, but let me just tell you, we're going to spay it and bring it right back to where it came from. It either already has a home or it has a better outcome staying, in the community. So like it's definitely an option, but a lot of times people don't want to hear it or they don't want to go that route. We have a lot of people that volunteered with our TNR team that are still contact us because they want us to take in kittens and cats that they find that are friendly. And we're like, we're just so full, like literally just let it live in its happy life to avoid, euthanasia because we don't have an option. It just doesn't end.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Gina. And it is definitely a point of controversy throughout cat lovers.
Yes, and it's difficult. There's a lot of debate about it, because there's people who don't want the cats around. They're like, I just want these cats removed, and I'm calling you like your pest control, and you're going to come out with a trap, and I'm never going to see the cats again. There's caretakers who like having kittens around because they're like, oh, they're so cute. I like having kittens. I don't want you to, take that away, but I don't have enough food to feed them all? So it's like then you have to tell them like, hey, unless you want to buy bags on bags on bags of cat food and deal with, all the expenses of taking care of these cats, we need to come in and do something.
Well, and then there becomes a health issue when you start having so many cats, like for instance, the colony behind the cat cafe. There's also I have to think of the politically correct word, people without shelter. I don't know if that's the most up to date term, but they live back there and the place is so unkept and the cats get scabies so bad, ear mites, and that it's tearing up their ears, that there's a whole concept of cleanliness in a colony. Can you keep up with the cleanliness, the vax, keep them healthy, all the things.
Mhm. Yes. All right. So I think, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to mention that, like, for those who are on here, there's over, last I heard, there's maybe now since kitten season bloom, but at least 50,000 stray cats in Tallahassee. And you can almost guarantee that every apartment complex has a little cat colony.
Yes. And the other thing too is like it's called the vacuum effect and it's a documented phenomenon. And the issue is like people want to remove the cats. If you remove those cats, new cats will come. The cats up the street will start showing up. The cats, because cats roam, they free roam and they travel more than people think. And so people think, oh, I don't want cats on my house at my house because they lay on my car, they pee on my lawn, they do this, they do that. It's like if you remove them, more will just follow. More will just come in and take their place.
We need to do a whole episode just on TNR.
Yes. Okay, so kind of the last question we have is, do you guys have any rescue cats or stories that live rent free in your mind?
I think Harry lives in Giselle's brain.
Oh my God. And all the seniors, Jack, Seabass, Katie. Yeah.
Yeah. She's a sucker for senior cats.
I
I
love them.
think I think I unfortunately have the mental dysfunction of only remembering the tough ones, like the trauma stories that I learned from. So I don't forget them so that I can learn from them, I think is my thing.
Yeah,
I,
I think.
I,
Oh,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead,
Um,
Lindsay.
I had one that I remember that is actually a good story, so I think I'll share it. And I don't
Yay.
think a rescue though. It was when I was working at Fat Cat Cafe, but I'm pretty sure she was from Ica. But her name was Lucille, and she is my biggest regret of not keeping. I still think about her. But she was a calico, like half Sphinx cat. So if you can picture that, she looked
She
like a
was
little
super unique.
so unique. She was so cool looking. She looked like a little skeleton, but her story was so interesting because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think an older woman just woke up to her in her bed. She had somehow climbed into the house, and the woman was just shocked that she was just sleeping. Like she just wanted a safe place to be, and that woman brought her to, I guess, Ica, and we got her at the cafe. And I just thought that was a great little story.
The one that got away.
The one that got away, I should have had her. I was like, my baby was, I think, literally around a year at that time, and it would have been a lot. But nowadays, man, I could have done it. She found a good home, though.
Yay.
Yeah, I remember hearing that story. I think the woman, like, she lived in a trailer or something like that, and there was some kind of like way that the cat was able to come in. I remember hearing that story.
Yeah, yeah, it was a trailer. It was something just, I just always imagined how freaked out I'd be if I woke up and this crazy skeleton looking cat was just sleeping on my bed.
Yeah, she was such an interesting looking cat. I remember
Yeah.
her.
Her adopters would come in when I worked there and always give me updates, so I always felt really good about her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Jasmine just chatted that she has 6 cats in her backyard colony that she TNR'd through us 5 years ago. And that's how that we met Jasmine. And so she said five of them still come to her back door every single morning and evening for meals. And in fact, they're waiting out there now. Nope. And now, of
They
course,
actually, they
my
actually line up on the railing on my deck. It's the cutest thing. I have to take a picture of them. They're so cute.
That is cute.
Aw.
I want to see a picture of them.
All right, so I have to ask, where's the sixth one?
He was, so there were two boys, four girls and two boys, and one of the boys was, he did not have a tail, and I remember him because we named him Little Giannis because my son was in basketball, and he just took off out of the trap when we released him, and I never saw him again.
Oh,
So I don't know if somebody picked him up, but I will tell you the wildest story. So I get my pedicures up at the maybe a mile away or 2 miles away or whatever at the Millennium Spa up the street. And I was up there getting my pedicure months ago, and I was talking to the lady who was doing my feet about the cat colony and my story and all the things. And I said, and I feed this big mangy gray cat, and he has mangled one ear and the other ear is missing. And he's just a big tomcat, and I've never been able to catch him. And so I was telling her the story, and this lady pipes up two seats down from me, and she goes, "Are you talking about?" And she named some name, and I said, "I don't know what his name is." And she goes, "I feed him too." And I went, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding? Like, is this a joke?" And she was dead serious. She apparently lives the next street over from me. And this has story is the best ending. So we get to talking while our feet are drying or whatever. And she says, "Yeah, I told her there was this cat who had no tail, a girl cat who had no tail, and she was the most beautiful thing, and she had gray on her belly." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, that's my cat." And I said, "You're kidding, right?" Because she was a stray in the backyard, and one day she disappeared. I never saw her again. She goes, "I took her in. She lives at my house." She showed me pictures on her phone. It was the best thing. It was like this wonderful moment of like full circle, like, oh my gosh, somebody else cares about these cats besides just me.
that is so wild that you
It's
met her at a nail salon.
crazy. Yeah, I still have her number. So I still every once in a while will find a picture like on Time Hop or whatever of her kitten when she was a kitten, and I send it to her. So yeah, it's crazy.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yay, good story.
All right. So, what is next? We are working on our end of year donor page videos for you guys still. May was just as we talked about, May was a very crazy month. So we are getting back into the swing of things, and I hope this month we'll at least put out like a couple of them or the first one. And then, of course, this weekend we're picking up the cats from Dominica. They're going to be coming in. We have 9 incoming. We kind of talked about that during the last Advocates meeting we had. So very excited about that stuff. Again, we included some more photos that we have submitted of our cats being weird. I will talk about the one on the far left. I was trying to take a bath, and Orchid, my very lovely special needs cat, she's really weird, and she wants to be where I am, but she doesn't want to be like directly next to me. So I was in the bathtub, and I just looked over, and I saw her um, just looking at me through the toilet. So that was
Wait,
fun.
which one was that?
That's Orchid.
Oh, Orchid. I always thought you said what's your the one I helped you get to adopt?
Oh, Blossom.
Blossom. I thought it was one of the kittens, but now you said it's a full-grown cat. That's so funny.
Well, Orchid is never going to be full grown.
Well,
Orchid
yeah,
is
we know.
quite small. Yes, the next picture is also of Orchid. I was assembling, like I got a little shoe rack, and she just decided she was gonna go into the bag, just full on put herself into the bag, and she did. And of course I was there supervising. It'd be scary if I wasn't there supervising. I don't want her, $6,000 of medical care. I don't want her to like asphyxiate in a plastic bag. But it's just like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What made you want to get inside the plastic bag? So that was fun.
Oh, that next picture is my cat, Marty.
Marty.
He's like a little gremlin. I do not know why he sits like that, but I adopted him from the cafe a few months ago, and he has been the best friend to my deaf cat. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. They jump on the fridge, they chase each other around the house, they sleep together, they lounge together, and then he sits like a gremlin, and I had to take a picture. So
And that last one there, I don't even know if you can see her. You probably can because she's massive, but that's my
It's Jabba the
ginormous.
Hutt. It's Jabba the Hutt on the top of a
Oh
ladder.
my God, she's so ginormous, which honestly I can't be mad at her for because she came from a tough situation. But she just climbed up that 6 foot ladder all by herself, made herself comfy in that little basket, and then obviously couldn't get down. So we took her down and moved the ladder. But mind you, this is not the first time she's done this and not been able to get down. So that's my guppy, my special, very, 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 very special guppy, inbred baby.
Aw. Is there any way to share the screen since we're doing what's next? Then I can give a preview of Miss T.
Yes, I stopped sharing. I don't.
So will it let me? Oh, it
Oh,
let
it's
me.
letting you. Okay.
So, I think next week Sarah's going to give me a spot for my little kitty, Miss Talisha, and this is a preview of her and what you'll see next week. She has a brain lesion, so next week we'll talk about her and of the few decisions she makes throughout the day. This was the one decision she tried to do on her own, which was to climb a screen, and she couldn't get down because she can't make the brain choices. So, but you'll get to meet her next week. This is a little plug to make you all come back next week so you can learn more about Miss T.
Yes, Miss T is going to get her own moment in the spotlight next time. Um, yes, we will reconvene again in July, probably the second, probably go back to second Thursday unless there's some reason not to. I begged us to do Wednesday this week just because I'm planning my trip down south and I just didn't want to be overwhelmed on Thursday. Um, so yeah, it's 8:09, so we can probably end it here, although we're all having a fun time. So I think we've gotten through everything. I know Gina, you had some questions about kidney disease. I'm sorry we didn't get to talk at all about kidney disease, but feel free to reach out.
Yep.
Giselle and Michelle are kind of the experts on that one.
Or if you want to stay on, we can talk.
Yeah, and actually here in the meantime, well, do the closing out and I'm gonna put something in the chat.
Okay, I am gonna stop recording.